We begin with President Trump's push for school safety during his address at CPAC. The president doubling down on arming certain highly trained teachers in our schools after learning the sheriff's deputy on duty at that Stoneman Douglas High School shooting did not enter the school as that tragic massacre was unfolding.
These teachers love their students, and these teachers are talented with weaponry and with guns. And the beauty is it's concealed. Nobody would ever see it unless they needed it. It's concealed. So this crazy man who walked in wouldn't even know who it is that has it. That's good. It's not bad. That's good. And a teacher would have shot the hell out of him before he knew what happened.
President Trump says there's nothing more important than protecting our children. So arming teachers, is that the best option? Let's bring in our panel. Tammy Bruce, Fox News political contributor and Washington Times columnist. Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA founder and executive director, and Bob Cusack, the Hill editor-in-chief, is with us as well. Charlie, you were there. It would look like an amazing event. But this one particular issue, President Trump, what I thought is interesting is he's taking a position here where he's going to anger some on the right and some on the left, in this particular case with the arming school teachers.
Yeah, it was a wonderful speech, I'll tell you. It was so great to be back in that kind of an atmosphere. Coming from the campaign, I just missed those big rallies, just being right up front and hearing the enthusiasm of the forgotten men and women that are now appreciating the successes of this administration. But look, I think the president is being awfully pragmatic here in a very, very good way. He's looking at a problem and he's saying, wait a second, why don't we have the teachers that have background in these trainings, background in the military, to be able to have the equipment and the weaponry to be able to fight back against these individuals. And the horrific part of this is there was a deputy sheriff there that did absolutely nothing. And look, doing nothing right now is not the answer. And I think the president is coming forth with some strong solutions that are going to poke some holes with people on the right and the left. Of course, the mental health backgrounds and some of the registry stuff is going to cause some controversy. But I love to see his leadership. I thought he did a phenomenal job.
You know, Bob, on that note, of course, some are making light of the fact that you had someone who was trained at this, in this case, that deputy sheriff, who froze. We don't know the details and why he did, but we do know that he no longer is a sheriff. And saying, well, if this guy couldn't spring into action, what makes you think a teacher will?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what you're going to hear in the debate in the weeks to come in Washington, because this is going to be issue number one. And in some situations, certainly in the Texas church situation, you had an armed person who helped the situation. And I think it's going to come down to local, state deciding what's best for their state. I think at the federal level, I don't think you're going to be able to get this through Congress. But the interesting thing here about what Trump's strongly supported by the NRA. He is advocating things that the NRA is not crazy about, and he's also pushing for some things on their agenda. This is where Trump, I think, can move the needle and possibly get something through Congress. But it's going to be very difficult, Charles.
Tammy, it may be difficult, but it does remind me of that conversation he had about DACA, and he told both sides, hey, bring me something and I'll take the heat. And this is another case where he's going to ruffle feathers all around, but and I think Bob used the word pragmatic, right? It's a pragmatic approach in his mind to keeping our children safe.
It is, and I think that clearly the difference with President Trump versus others is he is a man of action. And Congress is going to respond to that energy. This is exactly what the founders wanted. They wanted an energetic president, a person who could move the ball forward. And so he's now, this is the challenge for those in Congress. And now we have an issue that the president, none of us would have wanted to have dealt with this issue. He would prefer to, obviously, any of us would want this on his plate or any of our plates. But when it is, when you are not beholden exclusively to one framework or another, and not worried about what your next job is going to be or what the media thinks of you, you can actually suggest the things that will work. And this is what Americans also appreciate about the president. He'll say some things that maybe are surprising, like he didn't like the idea of the active shooter drills.
Right.
And people are thinking, well, wait a minute, he's right, that to put kids through the trauma of that dynamic, why would we do that when maybe we should be focusing on hardening those schools and setting up this environment to keep them safe? You don't do that at home. You've got a home where mom and dad are going to keep the kids safe and the doors are going to be locked. So the president understands this. The argument, by the way, about how an armed teacher would do better than this sheriff, When you are inside, you're being trained specifically for a particular case. Every day these children are yours, then there would be a different reaction.
Right. And Charlie, President Trump, of course, mentioned that over and over. The relationship, the special relationship, it's a custodial relationship, and we do trust our teachers with our children in every other way possible, including nurturing them for their future. So, and again, Bob, I know Bob said it's going to be tough for Congress, to get something done, but the American public, Charlie, wants something done right now.
They do, and I think doing nothing is not an option right now, and I don't think gun confiscation or national gun registries are the way to go. But we have a 19th century system of purchasing weaponry in America in the 21st century. There has to be some form of middle ground where these psychopaths and crazy people get detected and they're not able to obtain this sort of weaponry. There has to be something that we can do, whether it be more pressure on the firearm industry using artificial intelligence to pick up these signs and these triggers. There's so much readily made information out there. MasterCard, American Express, Facebook, and Google knows so much about us that's already out there. I guarantee with the right parameters and the right artificial intelligence, we could find probably 500 people out there right now that are at risk of doing something horrible like this. And doing nothing is not an option, but it also is going to take some people in the private sector to step up outside of government.
Folks, I also want to let you know that there's one report floating around out there. I'm going to have a few details that perhaps there was more than just that one deputy sheriff outside the school as the shooting was occurring. And I mean, it's almost every other, every hour or so the story gets more heartbreaking. When I get a few more details, I'll share it with you in the audience. But Bob, again, the pressure on this is a moment of inflection. Scholars and everyone else are trying to figure out exactly why, but there's no denying that this is the moment that action must be taken. And anyone who is politically tone deaf and thinks that they're going to go in the same foxhole on this one, I think that they're going to make a huge mistake.
Absolutely. This is a key moment, and I think that, the problem is that now this is in the kid's psyche of America. It is really, it is scaring them to go to school, and the status quo is unacceptable. There's going to have to be something done. And when you look at what Trump did this week, he didn't have to have that event with the survivors at the White House that was extremely moving. He did, and that moved the needle and gave this momentum to what Congress is going to be on their plate next week. And I agree that this feels a little different, and I think something might actually happen.